Hello and welcome to the Marketing Ping Pong podcast. My name is Ali,
And my name is Duncan.
and we are here to talk about, actually, react to a really entertaining business related YouTube video. As with our previous episode where we reacted to a Caleb Hammer video where he was interviewing and doing a financial audit for a mobile detailer, we're going to do something very similar here with a different business owner and really talk about like the advice that he is both giving the business owner. What advice would we give this business owner? And maybe what are some blind spots that the business owner themselves are not seeing, or maybe stories they're telling themselves, and actually try to kind of decode what's going on here because there's a little bit of that in this episode as well. So, Duncan, are you excited? Are you ready?
I am pumped. Despite my head cold, I am ready to go. The caffeine is rolling. My Dayquil has kicked in. Let's do this.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Okay, so I'm going to pull up this video. Again, this is Caleb Hammer. He does financial audits. He helps people get their financial house in order. And normally, when he is talking to somebody on the channel, they have a job, but sometimes they are entrepreneurs. And in this case, this guy's name is Andy. I'm going to go ahead and do the intro here, but the way that Caleb is holding Andy is the way that I want to do it in this episode as well. It is rather fun.
That's a great thumbnail.
No, it is. I love his thumbnails. I want to emulate his thumbnails. I think he does a really good job.
Yeah, boxing ring in the background. That's great.
Yeah, it's really good. He's got full-time people that do that for him.
I bet.
Well, good for him. We'll have that someday.
Yes.
We will have thumbnail creators. Okay, are you ready?
I have never been more ready for anything in my life.
Okay, here we go. Oh, it's muted.
Oh, no.
I was not prepared. Okay.
Houston, Texas. Hi guys, my name is Andy. I am based out of Houston, Texas, and I'm 31 years old, and this is Financial Audit.
What do you do in Houston, Texas for a living?
All right, so he is a carpet cleaner. I'm going to pause it right away here. He is a carpet cleaner, which I love because I'm a big Joe Polish fan, and Joe Polish started off as a carpet cleaner, and I think there's a lot of like marketing knowledge in the carpet cleaning space. It's one of those industries that there are gurus. There are quite a few gurus in that space that actually helps carpet cleaners. So
Yeah.
as soon as I saw that, I got excited. I'm like, ooh, it's a carpet cleaner.
Yeah, these home service businesses that have been around forever, they've been, the longer an industry's been around, the longer they've had to optimize their messaging.
Yep.
There is a very clear blueprint for success. And also, with that clear blueprint, there are a lot of really interesting ways to break out of the mold, so definitely a lot of potential.
Yep, love it, love it. All right, so let's see what Andy's all about.
Carpet cleaner,
Yeah.
as we talked about before the show.
Yes.
I could have used you.
So, right, yeah.
Oh,
I started the business in 2020.
business owner.
Yeah. So I do a couple other things I'll dive into, but
so business owner. Do you have any employees?
just
under
me,
you?
myself, and I, solo owner operator.
How's that business
pulled the
been
trigger
going
on
so
it.
far?
First 2 years was great. 2021, great. 2022, great. But like barely making it. You know what I mean? And then 2023 bombed.
Bombed?
Yeah, like the
I wanted to do
job
the
average kind of just dropped.
Why have carpets all of a sudden just stayed magically clean this year so far?
No, I have no idea what happened, but because of that, I had to pick up 2 other jobs. So I am.
Dang.
Yeah, I'm also.
In the world of business, and there's a lot of things that I need to track metrics here and all throughout the business. We usually try to determine what is happening all throughout.
Right.
What were you able to?
So
That's not a good sign if we're not able to at least.
yeah,
Get a good guess.
right. That's why I'm here for your guidance and help with what I should be doing differently. I'm trying different avenues to try and because I want to keep it afloat. I'm not
All right, so
dropping
I
it.
need to talk about that.
Yeah,
I
for sure.
love that Caleb said that. He's like, you need to know why this isn't going well. Why isn't this going well? And he's like, I don't know. I think that's huge, 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 huge. And that, again, can be sometimes that positive Pollyanna thinking. Just like, I'm just going to keep moving forward and like stay positive and all of that. And not that he's necessarily doing that, but I think that's why that can be dangerous. And not knowing your metrics and not knowing what you need in order to survive and not knowing what you're doing. It's obvious to me if he doesn't know why business is going down, he had no clue why business went up.
Yes. Yeah, that's the exact same point I was going to make, right? So, like, I talk to a lot of businesses. I'm a B2B service provider, and it's apparent, even in businesses that are going well, a lot of them have the same thing too. They're like, I don't really know. They don't really know why things are working, or their biggest measure of success is their referrals or word of mouth, and like that's great. But you know that's what every business should have when you're doing a good job and providing a good customer experience, is like people should talk about you and tell other businesses about you. That's not reliable, it's not consistent, and you need to really know what else you can do to continue to grow and scale the business, and you need to know why the things that you're doing are working and how to tap into that and make it better. So businesses on both ends, successful, not successful, have the same problem.
Yes, and I see that a lot when I hear a business say, you know, we've grown by referrals and word of mouth. It, to me, that's, they're using it as a badge of honor. I've done so well that everybody is referring us, but I see it as a red flag and a point to be concerned.
Yep.
Because if for some reason that referral, you have no control over referrals and word of mouth. That should be the gravy, right? That's extra that you're getting. When your entire business is built on that, what happens when you make a mistake? What happens when one of those word of mouth doesn't like you anymore? You get replaced by another business. It dries up and you have absolutely no control over it. So yeah, getting really clear about, and I think sometimes people also use referral and word of mouth because they don't know where they came from, so they're assuming that it's because they don't know anything else.
Yeah, it needs to be trackable. It needs to be measurable. And that's like my first step with any business. It's like, how do we actually figure out where your business is coming from and what's actually working, so we can turn those dials. We can crank that up and lean into what works. But you can't lean into it if you don't know what it is.
Exactly. I remember, like, there's an old quote that, like, I know that half of my marketing, half of my advertising works really well, and the other half doesn't. I just wish I knew which half was which.
Which half? Yeah.
And that's why I've always loved direct response marketing, because it has that tracking mechanism in it. When you get a direct response to a piece that you have mailed, to an ad that you have run, then you can make that connection and you can say, this thing I did brought me in this amount of money, and so now I know that that's working.
And that's why I love digital. That's why I love sales funnels, because you can even have the same piece of marketing, the same ad on different platforms, and you can track it by sending that traffic to different landing pages that correspond to the traffic source. You can get as specific as you want. You can even give your individual salespeople, for like word of mouth or like them being out on the street, you give them their own landing page. You give them their own link for people to go through to sign up for whatever, to get entered into your CRM. And like you can track it based on each person. I love being able to really dig into those numbers, and there's no way, it's I'm frustrated when businesses say that they just don't know. But it's also like, it goes back to that, it's simple, it's not easy, right? Like, if they don't even know where to start, I don't blame them, but it is, it's going to take some work to kind of build the systems that we need in order to track those numbers. So.
Correct. And I do want to point to this too, that a lot of agencies and a lot of ad companies, newspapers, magazines, etc., they're banking on you not knowing. It is in their best interest for you to not know where your business is coming from.
If it's a question mark, you'll just keep paying. You'll just keep paying because you don't know. They don't know. When you ask, they go, I don't know. Or they give you a metric that's not based on anything that matters, like clicks or impressions or whatever. It's like, we got this much traffic to your site, and I'm like, okay, well, how many of those people became customers? It's like, I don't know. That's like, to me, I'm like, how do you just not know? How do you just like, how are you paying this much money? And it's like you'll get a business that's clearing a couple $1,000,000 a year in sales, and it's like, great, awesome, business is doing good, and they won't know. They'll be spending $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 on marketing and advertising, and they still don't know which pieces of it are effective, where their customers are coming from, if the money that they're spending is actually turning into money on the other end, or if it's just the word of mouth, right? Like that's crazy to me. Like if you turned off that marketing and advertising spend right now, you don't know if it would like stop customers coming in, and like you could save that money, right? It's like just
but then there's that fear that I'm going to turn off the wrong one, and
then your business gets shut. Yeah. It's so hard if you build a system based on like not knowing and like hoping and guessing. You have to know. And it's such a the marketing and advertising industry is like it's I would say the majority of it is like that. Like they're doing things and hoping that no one asks for actual concrete results because it's easier, Like I built my agency, which I'm kind of like taking a left turn and headed the other direction on now, but on really knowing. And it is harder and more stressful when you're trying to produce results and you're not quite there yet, and you have to like adjust and tweak things over time to the point that you are getting results, right? When you put yourself in front of a business like that and you say, this is what we're trying to do, and if I can't, I don't want you to pay me anymore, it puts your feet to the fire and you like actually have to do it. But most marketing agencies are happy to just cash the checks and like
absolutely.
Yeah.
So when I used to own a used bookstore, see, Duncan, back in the day there were these things called newspapers.
Wow.
Newspapers.
And you said something, a book? What's that?
Well, paper books. That It was fantastic.
Were they still on a tablet back then? Like, could you swipe or?
No. It was all analog. It was fantastic.
Fascinating.
Wireless. They were completely wireless. So
they didn't even have Wi-Fi.
I know. So we had an ad rep come in from the newspaper, and I liked her a lot. She was a very, very nice lady. And she hadn't really been in newspaper ad sales for very long. And she came in and she was like, oh, we're going to sell you on this ad. And she's not saying that, but that's what she's doing. Like, she's going to sell me on this ad in this publication. And I said, so how do I know if the ad I'm running with you actually works? And she looked at me like I just hit her with a baseball bat.
Yep.
She's like, that's a really good question. Nobody has ever asked me that before.
Yeah.
And she was amazed. She would come in all the time and ask me about advertising and what I was doing. And she's like, I've been sharing all your tips with the other people because they should know this too. If they're going to be advertising, they should know how to do this.
Gosh, that's crazy.
And this is the ad rep. These are the people that are getting your ads designed.
Yep.
That they have no clue. They have absolutely no clue. So you've got to educate yourself. You've got to know where your people are coming from, and you've got to educate yourself on marketing tactics that are actually going to give you that. Number one, we want it to be trackable, and number two, we want it to actually be working.
Yeah.
So even if you are hiring people to help you, you still need to know your numbers, and you still need to know where your business is coming from. Otherwise, when it stops, you're not going to know why it stopped.
Yep, and I've even recommended to people that are, like I'll come in, they'll ask me for some help or like an audit of their marketing and just kind of check how things are working, and I'll recommend like, hey, there's a lot here to unpack and you're paying a lot of money. Go to the people that you're paying and say, hey, I would like to know if you can build me something that says this is exactly how many leads and clients I'm going to get out of my spend this month. If they don't, I wouldn't use them, because it's if you can't know, then you shouldn't spend the money.
That's exactly right.
And it's a hard pill to swallow for some people, but it's like, it's like you're gambling, but not even, because you don't know if you've won. Like if you won, you still have no idea. If you lost, you have no idea. It's exactly. Like literally throwing money away.
Yep.
So, yep.
Absolutely.
But like, what has happened other than just not getting business? Were there reoccurring clients before that all of a sudden?
Yes.
Were not? Okay.
Well, no, yeah, I'm getting repeat business. So November 2020, I traded in a Lexus I had. So before pulling the trigger on the business, I, was living great. You know what I mean? Credit score good and all that stuff. So in these last 3 years is what's been the decline of my credit score and everything, up spending on the credit cards, and just pretty much
balances.
Yeah, pretty much putting it all towards advertising. Just it's been
that's what that is.
Yeah, just all advertising. Yeah. So not knowing where the cost of everything's going.
Account. Do you have a business checking account?
No.
So 3 years and we haven't separated finances at all?
Yeah, I just recently, maybe a couple months ago, opened the business credit card. So, kind of help divide.
That's the last thing you need is another credit card. Though.
Right.
I'm just talking about keeping your finances separate.
All of his money is going into advertising.
Okay.
All of it.
All of it, and it's still not working.
And he still doesn't know where anything is coming from. Yes, it's still not working.
It gets
worse. We're not even to the bad part yet.
I'm gonna like pull the curtain back a little bit and like do a little bit of telling on myself. Okay, so I think that businesses, including myself as an ad agency, you can run a campaign that is not successful. It happens. There are things that you do where you spend money and it's not working, and you have to adjust. You have to look at why it didn't work. I've had to look at clients and say, hey, look, we did this ad, we spent this much money, and it didn't work. There's a multiple things that could happen. Might not be product market fit. You might be more expensive than the competition. The offer might not be good enough. We need to rework that. There are a lot of things that might make it not work, but if you don't know, number one, if you don't know how, if it's working, like you have to be able to track it to be able to fix it and know if it's not working. And number two, you have to know how to diagnose what's wrong with it in order to fix it. You can't just keep throwing money at the problem and hoping that it gets better. And to me, it's like that whole testing, taking a step back and looking at everything. You really need that break, that time to like step back and think and look and examine it and figure out why it's not working in order to make it effective moving forward. You can't just keep throwing money at it.
Nope, I totally agree. Totally agree.
Yeah. There's certainly a transitionary period where this was just like, okay, I was just doing this for fun. Then I'm like, oh crap, this is a business. Oh crap, it's like actually a business. So you're going to have some overlap and just things that are reoccurring that are going to be on another account.
Right.
And I still need to take some time for a couple reoccurring subscriptions and switch them to my business from personal.
I just want to say on that real quick for everybody, have a separate account for your business stuff. I don't know how many times I've seen him talk to he's had influencers on here and people that should be writing stuff off, and it's on their personal credit card and their personal. Now, I don't technically have a business bank account because I don't need to write checks from my business or anything. So I have a personal account that I use for my business. But it's separate, and it makes everything so much easier. You know what you actually have to spend. When it comes to doing your book work, it's all right there. You have everything is in line. You can see what your budget should be. You can decipher all that. Having different accounts paying for different things, and personal accounts and personal credit cards and all of these things mixed in is going to make your real numbers very confusing, and you're not going to be able to just look at it and get to where you are. So
it can be a nightmare, and I've been on both sides of it, and I actually took a step backward. My personal checking account information got stolen, and I've been using my business checking account for a lot of my personal things. Well, that gets sorted out, and speaking from both sides of the coin, everything was nice and neat and organized, and my bookkeeper was really happy with me, and now it's gone the complete opposite direction. It's a nightmare again, and having to sort out what's business and personal.
Yep.
And it's crazy. You have to have them separate. And to me, it's even within the business banking account, even if it's not a business account, there should be separate accounts for money that you're allocating within the business for separate things. It doesn't have to be, but if you're dealing with something that is you have equipment costs and you have insurance and then you have your profit. I haven't read Profit First yet, but I'm planning on it.
You gotta read it. It's so good. It's the best book. Everybody listening to this, stop what you're doing, pause the podcast, go to Amazon, order Profit First, get the physical copy, not the digital copy, because
the wireless one.
And not the audiobook, because you're going to want to go back and look at things and underline things and mark the book up. And I'm not a mark the book up kind of person. Get Profit First. Do yourself a favor, life changing.
All right, I'm stopping this episode right now to go order it. Cut. No, I'm just
It
kidding.
is the best. I'll bring
Yeah.
you a copy. I'm coming over on Wednesday. I've got
Awesome.
an extra copy right there. I will bring it to you.
Love it. I got to paint my wall with whiteboard paint because we're gonna like brainstorm the heck out of this.
I know we're gonna Charlie Day this Wednesday.
I'm excited for that. Yeah. So like, I think even within, and I'm not very good at staying organized with my finances, and that's why I know that I need to have them separate. And I'm trying really hard now to, within my business account, have separate accounts that are for different things.
Yes.
Right. It's like profit, insurance, insurance, and then regular expenses and overhead. You have to have those kind of separate things to make sure that you have the money in there for when you need it, equipment, et cetera, et cetera. If you have a lot of moving parts and things that need to be replaced, you have to have that kind of organization, or else you just don't know where anything is.
Can you imagine having your own equipment account that's building up, and that is like your Christmas money, right?
Yeah.
Like you get to go and buy like all the equipment because you've budgeted for it.
Yeah,
That's
I have
why
it.
First. Yeah.
Yeah, I have that now, and it's like going from like solopreneur to like business owner. Those are some of the things that kind of like kick in. It's like, okay, so every job that I go on now, I think about potentially having to pay someone else, potentially having to replace my equipment. And all of those are added costs into the costs that I pass on to the client, right? Like essentially they're renting my equipment for the job. I know that I'm going to have to replace it after X amount of uses, so I have to figure that cost into what I'm quoting people, and I actually pull that money out from the job and I put it into the equipment account. Like I know that that's there to replace the equipment when I need to replace it. And you have to do that, or else you won't have it when you need it, and you'll be out of luck.
Exactly. And that's what I love about Profit First, because you can adjust it to whatever. A lot of people have a lot of different accounts for the business. I'm pretty good. Everything can pretty much be in the business, but I've considered like setting aside like advertising money.
Yeah.
And letting that, build up over time. So I know what I actually have for ads. We've pretty much been able to stay even Steven with everything and actually build the business account. But no, Profit First, to everybody listening to this, it is a game changer for real. All right, let's see what Andy's got to say here.
Right. So I'm trying to divide
years.
it. Yeah. It's
That's
just because
a little different.
I didn't feel like I didn't need to open it up from day one because
Okay,
it felt irrelevant to me.
Year two.
It felt irrelevant to me because having to pull out money from the checking.
Okay, how's your
over and over
accounting
transfer?
been? How's your taxes been? How's that all been these last few years?
It's been good. This year though, my guy's been putting an extension on, or he put an extension on it, so I have for this year have not filed.
Whoa. One second. When we're talking this year, are we talking what we would have filed this year for last year?
Yeah.
Okay, so last year is still just keeps getting canned down the road.
Yeah.
Why? For why?
He just...
No, but why? Sure, he's doing it, but why?
I haven't bothered calling him about it.
Well,
so, but yeah, he's kind of just been...
I don't know if in business owner situation I'm doing like, okay, hey, buddy, old pal, old man, old dude.
Yeah, he's not really...
help me out.
And he's
Let's
in
use
another
a
state.
Professional.
Yeah.
The big
So
thing that saved my butt with Profit First was putting aside the taxes money.
Yeah.
That is huge because we always had write-offs with the kids and we didn't make a lot of money. And I found Profit First right before that first year that we actually owed. And
Yeah, Mariah and I both have been business owners at different points, and there's some overlap there, and we unfortunately did not find Profit First before the first year that we both owed, and we're still in the hole from that. Like we're on a payment plan, and it's like we're getting out of it, and I think that like this whole podcast is really exciting for me because it's like arming people with knowledge from the mistakes that I personally have made. I'm sure that's some of the stories that you've told, and it's important to me because like that can be a huge issue. That could have shut down both of our businesses, and we would have had to go get regular jobs just to pay the tax bill. So that it's a huge deal. You have to set aside money for taxes, and you have to have somebody that you can trust helping you with that if you don't know how to do it. Find people that are better at things than you are to help.
Yep, totally agree. I'm amazed even on this show, watching Caleb Hammer, how many people that have jobs that have not filed their taxes for 2 or 3 years.
Yep.
And I'm like, I'm terrified of like when that due date is, and like I got to get it in there. And that's what always scared me about I may actually have to pay one of these years, because I surely didn't plan to pay it. And I look at it like, seriously, I have to pay by April 15th or else I'm going to die. Like that's how I've always seen it. And so I had
the IRS is coming.
Yeah, I know. It terrified me. Absolutely terrified me. But no, yeah, everybody out there, you got to set money aside for your taxes.
Yep.
We were lucky the first 12, 13, 14 years. We didn't know anything because we never made over a certain amount, and we had 3 kids. So we had lots of write-offs and all of that, and it was perfectly fine.
Helps it level out, yeah.
Yeah. Once we started making real money, then it was like,
yeah, it's an issue.
I'm glad we figured that out that quickly.
Yeah. We just had our first kid, and I'm like, yes, thank you, baby.
I have my last one left for the write-offs. They're 16. So I'm like, man, we're going to lose all that sweet, sweet write-off money.
Yeah.
All right.
Trying to find somebody, here locally that I can just give all my expenses to, and they can help me with that. But
what'd you make in 2020? This business, what did it bring in?
Oh, so it launched November, so I only had one job.
Okay,
I was still doing.
What did it make? 2021,
maybe 15, maybe like less than 20,000.
2022, what did it make?
Less than 30. Or no, I'm sorry, not less than 30. About 30.
Okay, in the right direction.
Yes, yeah, right, correct.
2023 so far, almost the end of the year. How much have we brought in this year so far?
I believe I've surpassed 30. I could check.
I thought you said it went down the drain this year. You're already above last year, even if not by much. So that's a different picture.
Right.
So what do you mean things have changed?
So my job average has gone down. I mean, it's not gone down. It's been.
What has gone up?
I've been teetering. Just more. In the grand scheme of things, the jobs have been. I've been getting more customers and things like that, but it's been on a very slow. So my overall, what I'm seeing, the big picture is my overall job average has not been. I haven't hit. So in the beginning, I hit 15 jobs average. The first 2 years was on a good month, and then this third year, my job average, I'm lucky to maybe hit 10 jobs.
Lovely. So then what has happened? What has happened to the point where a couple months to go, 2.5 months to go left in the year, you've made what you made entirety of last year, even with less clients? Is your prices higher? Are the jobs bigger? What has happened? How is the business switched?
My minimums are bigger. I'm charging more now.
Do you think this is impacting how many clients are coming in?
No.
I don't even that market is
The level of confusion he has about, like, this was like twisting my brain when I listened to it the first time. It's gone off the cliff. I have fewer clients, but I'm making more per client, and I'm making more this year. I'm in a lot of trouble.
It really does sound like, I know we're here to talk about marketing. It sounds like a lack of understanding overall, right? So it's like, doesn't understand the finance side, doesn't understand where it's headed, what success really is to him. Like, there's so much stuff here that it's like just not quite sure of. He's not quite sure of. And it's hard to help somebody if like they don't even know where they want to go or like where they are. It's almost like a therapy question, right? Like, he needs to talk to somebody about his life first before we fix your business. Yeah.
I totally agree. Yeah. I love that Caleb asked the question. He's like, well, then why are you saying it's going down? And he's like, less volume. He's like, fewer people. He goes, well, then are your prices higher? Oh yeah, my prices are higher. And that to me shows he is focusing on just the wrong metric.
Yep.
He thinks it's about the number of people and not the what he's making per job. he's paying attention to a metric without paying attention to the other metric at the same time.
Yep.
It is an ideal situation if you can have fewer clients and make more money, because then you're not working 24/7 trying to make that amount of money.
Yes.
You're making more per client. That's going to make you more profitable, and that's going to be more sustainable when you're an owner operator versus, driving yourself into the ground, being the cheap option and not making any money at all.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like I'd rather work less and make more. That's like that's what I want. That seems like that's where he's headed, but not quite happy about it for whatever reason.
Yeah. He's like, but I need more customers. You're doing good, dude. Like, it's not. I mean, it's not that he's doing like great, but he's moving in the right direction.
Yep.
And I don't think he even recognizes that he's moving in the right direction. And I think he's done
100%.
some things in this episode that are going to sabotage that as well. I don't know if we're going to get to it all, but
it is beyond me because I've never had a carpet or rug cleaned once in my life. I've never requested that. I needed it for the dog explosion that recently happened.
Right.
I just threw it away because it was too far gone.
The way I got into the business is I worked for a couple other companies, and I just really enjoyed the field. I was fortunate enough to be trained by one of the best. He was a manager at one of another top competitor's company, and our paths happened across each other, and he taught me everything he knew. And so that was back from 2015 to 2017.
okay, I learned from the best. He taught me everything he knew. Does that mean he taught you how to clean a carpet really, really well?
Yeah, like
Or
the
does that-
operational.
Right.
Yeah.
And that people get that conflated all the time too. I'm really good at fixing cars. I'm really good at cleaning carpets. I'm really good at X. And they think that that's what you need in order to build the business. All you have to do is know how to do it and be really good at it, and the business will come.
Yep.
So yeah, it sounds to me like I was hoping when this episode started, I was hoping that he would actually have some good marketing information, because I wanted to see if it crossed over into what I've heard other carpet cleaners talk about. And it's obviously he has not fallen into that world. He's gone into the technical, I want to be better. At the end of this episode, we're definitely not going to get to it. He talks about wanting to get a certification for carpet cleaning. And Caleb's like, oh, I like certifications. He goes, but I like certifications because they can make you more money. Will the certification actually make you more money? He's like, not necessarily. The being really good at it is, you can be a bad carpet cleaner and make a lot of money, and you can be a good carpet cleaner and make no money.
Yep.
And then when I quit in 2017 and found something else, jobs were declining. They paid us per job. That's why I had to leave. But I still love the field. So anyway, fast forward in those 3 years, saved up the money, and then it ate away at my savings and all that.
I know the equipment for this can be.
So
money.
I traded in that Lexus, got a used truck. I have a 2006 Toyota Tundra that I run it with. It's fully paid for. The Lexus paid for it pretty much. And then the equipment cost me about a little over $5,000, between $5,000 to $10,000. Equipment, chemicals, and all that stuff.
You do a house, 2,500 square feet. Let's say it's a 3-bedroom house. The bedrooms are the ones that are carpeted. How long are you spending on that house?
2 hours tops.
2 hours. So
Max.
You could do
like an hour and a half.
You could do 2 to 3 houses like that a day.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So we're certainly not anywhere close to your limit.
You're right. Yeah. No, the volume is not there. It's been on like I said, it's been
I got
tough.
you. I just wanted to make sure.
Right.
Okay. So where are people finding you?
Facebook, Yelp, Google.
Google Maps? Are you on Google Maps?
Yeah, Google Maps. Yep.
Okay.
I just recently started Yelp. Yeah. So,
Okay.
like I said, first year, I mean, really all my
What about,
bread and butter was coming.
Thumbtack and stuff like that?
No, because they charge.
I want to get into that Thumbtack here in a minute. I've never heard of Thumbtack before, so I want to talk about that in a minute.
Sure.
But okay, doing Yelp. Maybe I'm not familiar. I mean, I know that you claim your listing on Yelp, but he's saying he's doing Yelp. Is there a way to do Yelp that I want to do?
There are ways to optimize your listing there, similar to Google My Business.
Sure.
And you can ask for Yelp reviews, and that will boost your listing there. Generally speaking, I don't recommend doing Yelp, because it is, again, you don't own it. You're subject to everybody else that's on Yelp, and you open yourself up to a lot of potential like reputation management problems if you have multiple places that you're collecting reviews. To me, it kind of waters things down, and it's better to focus on, say for example, Google. If you're a home services business, everybody checks Google first. That's kind of like the gold standard. But yeah, you can do things on Yelp to kind of help boost your listing.
So would you recommend, because I don't do the Google and search engine side of things
Sure.
myself that much. But I would think that claiming your listings is a good thing, right? So your Yelp listing, and make sure your information is correct. And
Yeah.
So when somebody does find you via Google, that they're getting the accurate information, they're seeing that your logo is there. As much as I don't like logos, it does help in that situation to show that, like, yeah, we're a real business, we're actually open, and it's not just kind of an empty listing.
Yeah, 100%. Claiming your listings is great. There are services that provide, there are businesses that provide that service, which I think, to me, having somebody do it for you, it's one of those things that you can outsource for not a lot of money, and it's like a thing that can be messed up pretty easily, especially Google. Like, it's good to find somebody that knows how to do it so you don't get messed up right out of the gate. But yeah, claiming your listing, claiming as many listings as you can also help boost SEO on your website. It's like a quick, kind of easy hack, like claiming every single one possible that's like a local listing really boosts your SEO in the beginning and can get some initial traffic there when people search for what you're doing.
Love it. All right, so he said, not Yahoo, Yelp, Google Maps. So he's got a Google My Business listing.
Yep.
And then he said Facebook, which we will get more into here in a bit.
And Thumbtack. Did you want to do that now or a little bit later?
Yeah, well, they're going to talk about Thumbtack a little bit. Let's.
Great.
There's something he says here that I think is really, really, again, we can sometimes miss the forest for the trees, or is that how you say that?
Yeah, basically.
They charge you like they'll take a cut, and I'd rather we'll
I
find
get
you
that too,
jobs, but
well, I get that too. But again, when I search for a small little job I need to be done, that's like
Thumbtack you
where
go to?
I go. Yeah, unless it's like a major thing, then I'm like looking around town, who's the best of the best. But if I need a small little job,
Sure.
you're trying to get your foot in the door, right, for a lot of these people, and you're doing like a job every few days when you could be doing a few jobs a day,
Right.
So it's like, okay, sure, you might give up a little, but if we get some clients that are gonna have there's a dude that's built some furniture that was just like beyond my mental capacity. I heard him off Thumbtack. He built furniture. I was like, damn, this is good. Next 5 times I've needed that over the past 3 years, I don't go to Thumbtack. I call the
go
dude.
to him. Okay.
This is an opportunity to just get in the door. Usually people, I have a feeling, unless it's just a big emergency, if someone is coming and getting their carpets cleaned, those luxury spending individuals, again, if it's not an emergency, I don't know. Fuck carpets. Carpets are gross. I don't know why people have carpets. Whatever. I feel like they're probably going to come back in 6 months to a year, whatever their overall. I'm sure they have like an idea of how often I want to get this cleaned. I want to get this cleaned. I want to get this cleaned. If there's someone who gets their carpets cleaned when it's not an emergency, right?
So yeah, the idea that he doesn't want to pay Thumbtack because Thumbtack will take a percentage, but he's not working at his capacity. So are you familiar with Thumbtack? I've never heard of Thumbtack before.
Thumbtack, there's a lot of them that are bulk lead gen businesses for home services, and another one's Bark, and Angie has I was
going to say, is this like Angie?
It's similar, so they all have slightly different models. I believe Thumbtack will actually put you in touch with the person, which to me is very valuable, and that's why they take a percentage of the job as opposed to pay per lead kind of thing. A lot of these services are, I like them. They're good for early initial traction if you really don't know where to start. If you don't have any marketing knowledge at all and you just need people who are in market looking for the thing that you sell, they're great. I would pick one. I don't know if this is how Thumbtack works, but if they actually put you in touch with a job and you're paying a performance-based or a commission for that job, I would say that's a great place to start, as opposed to something like a larger bulk lead collection service like Bark.com, because you're competing for that person's business with everybody else on Bark.com in your niche. So I would go with somebody that's actually going to connect you with a job and get paid per job, and get some like kind of guaranteed work, as guaranteed as it can be, right? So I do like them, but only in very specific scenarios, like this scenario, right? Like if he needs more clients and he's having a hard time getting that traction, which it seems like he is, I would definitely do this, right? It's like, wouldn't you trade, same thing as my paid referral program, wouldn't you pay somebody to bring you a client? And like they're coming to you and saying, they're coming to the client and saying, hey, here's this person that you should work with based on our vetting of them. Some of them, they vet the businesses that come onto the platform as well, which is nice. Like you have to kind of apply and show that you do good work and have a certain amount of reviews, et cetera, et cetera. But if somebody's going to come hand me a client, of course I'm willing to pay them for that client. Of course I am. That's how you grow a business, right? Like you're going to have some associated cost with acquiring clients no matter what you do. And it's about getting that cost down over time as you learn how to do it. But in the beginning, if you don't know and you got to, that's like the cost of ignorance, right? Unfortunately, that's what it is. Like you don't know, so you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay to play. So.
Well, and we end up paying anyhow. We pay with our time, we pay with our money. If we're running ads to get a client, we're paying anyhow.
Yep.
And I think that there's sometimes this mental block that happens with people that I don't want this other company to get a percentage of my money. But then we dump thousands of dollars into ads and never even consider the fact that Facebook is taking all of our money, and this other company is only taking a bit of what you're actually making, and so that can be a really, really smart direction to go. But I think it's a mental block. You know, a lot of people in my niche complain about Etsy. Etsy takes a percentage, and I play on that a little bit, like, hey, do these things without paying Etsy. And there are things about Etsy I don't love, but at the same time, they're giving you customers and you pay the percentage when you make a sale. So they're going out and doing all the hard work for you. And yet people get like, no, they can't have my money. So then they sit there and make no money because they're so protective of that percentage of the sale that they end up shooting themselves in the foot because now they have nothing and they don't know how to go out and do the marketing themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. Like you got to be willing to, that's just the reality. You are always going to pay to acquire clients, even through referral business, right? Like that's like the cheapest way that you can do it. But if you want consistent referrals, you're going to need to maintain those relationships with those past customers so that they remember to refer you. Like that's a cost because you're going to be, using email marketing software, spending your time to write those emails or to even personalize that communication. And I have Follow-Up Friday where I text and or call some of my friends who they're my clients, but they're my friends, right? And I'm staying in communication with them, asking them about their life, giving them updates about my life, telling them about my new kid, all that stuff. I do it without really thinking about the return that I'm going to get on it because I do want to be friends with them and I do want to know about their life and be involved. But in reality, what that does is it sets me up as the guy that's like I'm their guy for video. I'm their guy for photo. And why would they recommend anyone else when their friend Duncan does that? So there's always a cost. Always a cost.
Always a cost. You're exactly right.
Yep.
Going to call the dude that did a good job at a good price. So getting your foot in the door, I think is an
pause
important
real
thing.
quick.
I don't know if we can be complaining and be very...
I also want to say, anybody that doesn't get a call or a text from me on Fridays, it's not because you're not my friend or not a great client. I still love all of you. I just don't have all the time in the world. I love you all. You included, Ali. We talk every day.
I know, but I had to ask for baby pictures. I'm like, it's been a while, and thank goodness your dad visits you and posts and tags you. I always see your dad or stepmom, I'm not sure who it is that's posting, and I'm like, thank goodness they're going and visiting. Otherwise, I would not even know what this baby looks like.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, I go through phases where I'm super active on social, and I get sick of it, and I look at screens all day, Ali. Give me a break.
I know.
I took pictures last Friday of dogs for 8 hours straight. I don't want to go home and take a picture of my daughter, no matter how cute she is. Let somebody else do it.
They're super cute, and there's like all these babies I'm cyber stalking right now. And you are slacking in the baby picture department.
I'll go home and take some and send them to you today.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Continue.
it.
Sorry to interrupt.
All right.
and be very nitpicky in your situation. Sounds like we've made okay. So you've made $30,000 this year so far. We're 10.5 months in. You said you have other income sources. I know that.
Right.
So we'll get there. But from the business side of things, I mean, you were bringing in $2,857 a month.
Gross.
Gross, yes.
Yeah.
Now I know
Gotta
you pay
spend
for
on
advertising.
Yeah.
But equipment repairs, hopefully you're putting a little money aside for that, for what it's necessary. Okay, so let's talk your income then. So what do you think you pull on average this year so far from your income for from your business for yourself?
Oof. The business, I mean, is a nonprofit. Really, everything is going.
Really?
Towards,
So all that goes right into advertising? Jeez, we do a little bit of Facebook advertising, but it doesn't cost that much. Facebook advertising is cheap, but are you just like
so
going full?
At the start, I did it myself, maybe spending 20 a day, 30 a day, whatever it took, right? 40, 50 a day, just trial and error, trying different images, different descriptions, different audiences. But then just recently, maybe a few months ago, hired a marketing team, $300 a month. And then they take it over. Yeah.
But you're not willing to do something like Thumbtack?
Right. Yeah. So this guy, $300 a month. And he's took over the Facebook stuff.
When again? I'm sorry, you said
August,
August-ish.
something like
so
that.
Since August. Months.
Okay, so he's got a marketing team for $300 a month to spend his money for him.
Yeah. I have some things to say. I feel like I can see where this is headed. I have this kind of conversation with a lot of business owners like this. Like, okay, where are you spending your money? How are you spending it? How do you know what kind of results you're getting? Are any of your new clients coming from these ad campaigns? Are you even getting new clients, or is this all repeat business? How long have you been spending this money without getting results? Because a lot of time they know that it's not really working, and the marketing team or whatever is saying, oh, it just takes some time to kind of figure out, which I know I've literally said before on this show, and sometimes it can, but I'm not going to continue spending somebody's money, even for more than a month. Like, if I can't get results, there's something seriously wrong with the campaign in general, and we need to make some serious changes, because good advertising, good marketing does get results. It does. And like, if you know what you're doing, you can generate results for people. So I think I know where this is headed, and it's unfortunate that he's been paying somebody any amount of money for any amount of time without getting really any results. So.
Yeah, and you are correct. That is exactly the direction that we are heading here.
Yep. And I'll tell myself a little bit, right? Like, I've run campaigns for a month where it's been like little results, few results, and you have to be real about it. Like, look, how much are you charging? Like, what's happening when you're getting on the phone with these people? I can get them to you, but if you're not closing them, there might be something in the sales process that's not working. So there's a lot that can go into it to affect the outcomes or the efficacy of an ad campaign, not always to do with the actual ads or the marketing people. So there's that too. But.
And I would assume that it's never a good idea to spend all of your money on the ads.
Sure. I mean, yes, but I have also been there too, right? So like, I've been in seasons where I've like found something that worked, and I've been like, now is the time. Like, once lightning strikes, or strike while the iron's hot, right? Like, so this campaign's running. We need to take all of the money from this job and pour it into this campaign, because I know, based on the numbers that I'm getting now, I'm going to generate another 10 clients from it. I've done that before. I wouldn't recommend it, but I definitely wouldn't recommend
from
it.
One client, that's not all of the money that you're bringing into your business going into ad campaign.
I've been there.
Money.
Yeah, so I don't recommend it, but I have been there, right? So it's like, you get those ups and downs in business, and I think that really, like, what you're doing in a business is managing risk. And like, if you get to the point where you see a risk that you can take, I'm not suggesting gambling, but if you see something working out, I definitely wouldn't recommend pouring all your money in. But doubling down on things that work that's a strategy that I am a fan of, and I have recommended that to people. It's like you spend $1,000 and you got 10 clients out of it. You can't really get much better than like $100 a client in most businesses. Most businesses, that's pretty good, especially home service, carpet cleaning businesses. I would be like, hey, all the money from those 10 clients, as long as you have all your expenses covered, pour that back in immediately, as long as you can handle the volume of filling your calendar for the next 3 months, because that's what would happen, right? Like you land on a campaign that works, you pour all the money back in from those initial 10 people into the campaign, you can fill your calendar up for the next 3 months and then not have to spend any more money on paid advertising for that quarter, probably. So like there are things that you can do there to kind of play around with it. But yeah, don't spend all your money on ads.
But again, that's once it's working.
Yes, that's what I'm going to say.
Something that's working, doubling down on something that's working, not spending all your money in ads and things are bombing.
Correct. Yeah, it's like this guy's ads aren't working, so I wouldn't spend any money until we figure out why.
Correct. All right.
The volume of jobs has increased,
Good.
Which is great.
Increase the dollar amount necessary to justify at least break even.
I mean, the volume versus if I would have still kept doing it.
Volume. I'm talking dollar amount though.
Dollar amount, probably the same kind of jobs I could have gotten, but just he's finding them better and easier. He's getting more engagement out of these
Are
ads.
you making more money or less or the same overall?
Same, I guess.
Okay, so
sure.
you're losing money by giving him $300 a month for this. What is up?
No,
if you're making the same amount of money than you were doing before, and you're giving an additional $300 away for this dude to bring in the same amount of money, then that is you making.
No. Yeah, so I'm paying him. Yeah, so the volume is there. He's getting more engagement out of this ad versus if I were to do it, I'd be just throwing
But
away
it
that
hasn't
20,
turned
30
into
a
money,
day.
correct?
What do you think of that?
Oh man, I'm feeling a little convicted, right? Because like I've been in these advertisers' position, right? Like so getting paid to run ads similar to what they were running before, getting similar, if not maybe a little bit better results, and going, like, look, here are the things that we can do to change this to make it better, and you get pushback from a business, or you try it out and like the performance dips and you're like, well, that wasn't it, right? So like that's really the job of your, in my opinion, your ad agency, is to like say, here's our baseline. Now we need to do these different things to try and improve it. When you try to make those improvements, there are so many things that can happen that can go wrong. You can get pushback from the business, like I mentioned. They don't want to change. They don't want to offer the kinds of things that you're suggesting to make it work. And really that kind of resistance or pushback can tank your campaign. It can make something that was working okay stop working. It can make things kind of stay consistent. So there's a lot of things that I think are going into this behind the scenes, especially with how little this guy kind of has a handle on things. Like, I feel like there's more there than what he's really saying. But that being said, it isn't unusual to see an agency come in and take over a campaign from somebody and continue running it the exact same way that they were, because it's less work for that agency. And again, they're just happy to cash the checks with some slight tweaks that make it look better. He said getting more engagement on the ads, right? So like that's like classic, like, you know, running an ad for engagement is like a way to make yourself look great as an agency, but
that
not
was a
really.
red flag for me as soon as he said engagement. I'm like,
Yeah, big red flag. It's like, what does that engagement really mean? Does any of that engagement actually turn into clients? And like, that's really the metric that matters, is like, how much does it cost you to acquire a new client? So you put X amount of dollars in and you get all this engagement and stuff. Cool. Yeah, great. How many clients did you actually get from that ad on the other end, and how much is it costing per each of those clients? So that way you can know exactly how much you need to put in if you want 10 clients next month. And is it profitable? It kind of has to be profitable, or else there's no reason to run the ads, right? You can't spend thousands of dollars per client if you're only charging $500 or whatever on a service. But yeah, definitely big red flag. But I can kind of see where this agency is at. I've been in their shoes, and I'm like, I feel kind of sorry for them. Like, they might actually be trying, and because he doesn't really have a handle on what's going on, and he's got a bunch of different things, you know, a bunch of different revenue sources in his life. things can fall through the cracks, if that makes sense. Like, they might be saying, hey, we need to do this to make things work better. And he's like, oh, well, it's, I don't have more budget to spend on another campaign, or, there's so many or that might be going into why that's
or
what
he might not be answering his phone.
Right? Exactly.
So the part that we're not really going to cover here is he's got 2 other jobs.
Exactly. Yep.
So he might not even be able to have the bandwidth to take on these jobs. And so now, and the other thing you can look at is that $300, if that is actually opening him up to be able to do more work and it's coming in at the same, then that can be worth that time. But he's also already told us that things are falling off a cliff, although he's making more money. But the volume isn't there. And then he says with the agency, they're bringing in the volume. So it can be really difficult. And this is why, again, I think it's so important for business owners to really understand these things, because he's not even able to communicate clearly a snapshot of where he is.
Yep.
He doesn't have a handle on it at all. And so he's, possibly messing up words like volume and engagement.
Yep.
So we don't really know what word he means, because to him it's all just one mess. And maybe he's nervous.
Yeah.
But it's all just one kind of just big mess. We don't know if his business is going up or down, or if he's making more money or less.
Yeah, he's definitely getting grilled, so it's like, it's hard. You're put on the spot like that. It can be hard to kind of keep track yourself, right? Like, he's getting, that's like the model of this show, right? Put people a little bit under pressure. Like, why aren't you taking care of your finances? Why aren't you taking care of your business? And it can make people kind of backpedal and not really, it can make it harder to
They don't want to look bad.
Yeah.
And, they want to sound like they're justifying whatever it is they're talking about.
Correct.
I will say there's part that I'm not going to show of the episode because it doesn't have anything to do with the business, where he asks him, how much money are you then bringing in yourself from your jobs? And he was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, from this job, how much you get? And so finally he gave the numbers, and he's like, okay, so you're bringing in, let's say it's $2,600 a month. And he goes, yeah, I'm not bringing it in though. It all goes to credit cards. And he's like, no, but you're making the money. He goes, yeah, but I don't keep any of it. It's going to credit cards. And he's like, and then there's a point where he's like, how much money are you bringing in? It's funny to watch him do it, but at the same time, this guy's like, I really don't understand your question.
Yeah.
So it feels like he is struggling with finances overall and really understanding how money works.
Yeah.
And what different terms mean. So it can be kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
To sign up for a list. Lovely. Fantastic. What you're trying to get is someone converting into a paid for customer who's calling you and getting you to come clean their carpet. Now, there is the, of course, classic, just like get your name in their head. Okay, next time they think of you, next time, their dog goes and diarrhea's all over the carpet. Lovely. Sure. Great. I need to call someone up. Right. They might remember, oh, I saw this thing. That's so hard because we're getting inundated with ads every single day. I can't remember the Facebook ad that I see. First of all, I can't remember because I don't open that app. What a terrible app. Right. But either way, I can't remember an ad I've seen on any platform that I care about the next day. So I don't know if that strategy is the one working for you. Okay.
So I love how Caleb just very quickly and in a almost layman's terms kind of talked about the difference between brand advertising and direct response advertising. Yeah. That was like a pretty good, like, oh, get your name out there. Maybe they'll remember us when the dog diarrhea is all over the carpet, versus getting them on a list and being able to convert them into an actual paying customer.
Yep. Yeah, I think it was the hard part there is like it's the same thing I've been experiencing recently in conversations with potential clients where I'm talking from my own level of understanding. This guy may not have even it went so fast, he might not even know really the difference, although Caleb did summarize it in a good way. It's like get them on a list and convert them. Like, he might not even have the basic understanding of what that means to know why that's so powerful, right? It's like, that's why something like what we're doing is so important, and your other project that you're working on, talking about doing audits like these for people's businesses, is you can really break it down to first principles and be like, this is why this works. This is why you need it. And if you don't figure it out, your business is going to fail. Like if you don't understand these core principles, you're not going to make it. And I think that, again, it just points to really breaking it down and making it simple enough, and not speaking out of our own understanding or my own understanding, speaking to them at a level that they can understand.
And that's why I really wanted to reach out to these guys that were on these 2 episodes that we watched, because Caleb's doing a good job at kind of like breaking into kind of the noise of like, oh no, wait, you need to actually make money.
Yep.
But then sort of, it's almost like he's breaking them and then leaving them there.
Yep.
Well, they don't really have a good firm basis of where to go. Who is their customer? What are their offers? And so now they're kind of broken down. Okay, he's saying I shouldn't do this or that. Maybe they should, maybe they shouldn't. It all depends on their business, and it requires a lot more nuance.
Yep.
So that's a big reason why I wanted to review these, and why I would love to talk to these guys, because they're kind of just left in this, and somebody could watch this and think, oh yeah, having a business is easy. You just need to, make sure that what you're doing is making money. Yeah, but there's
a lot more
foundation that you need there in order for them to really understand.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that they're left reeling, like without really any straightforward business advice. It's like there's probably a lot of good financial stuff in here, like how to get your spending in order, pay down your credit card debt. But like the thing that really could change things for them is getting the business to the point that it's like good cash flow business, and then they have the finances to try and pay down some of the debt. Like you got to get that in order. In my opinion, you're in there. Better to get that in order because you're doing it. You have this asset. You have to figure out how to make it profitable so that you can leverage it to get out of debt and do all these other things that he's teaching about.
Absolutely.
But, yeah.
Absolutely.
All I'm trying to figure out, and I'm a little upset that you can't seem to answer, is the overall, is it worth it?
Yeah, I have no idea. This was, like I said, just this recent thing that I had him take over. A couple months ago. So before it was just me doing everything.
Now, I'm okay with, I've brought on a couple full-time employees. There's a couple things I outsource, and this helps me put my time more on other things that I want to do.
Right.
That's great, and that can do that. And I know there's not going to be a measurable return instantly, maybe even 2 months, but after like a quarter, especially 2 quarters, I would like to be able to start measuring this. So maybe this is we do this till the end of the year, but if you're not seeing measurable returns, financially speaking, at least, like let's start getting some of this converting into dollar bills for you, because you're not making any money.
So about the marketing people, I'm planning to, like I said, this was only August, so I've only paid them August, September, and October now. I am not planning to do the recurring payment again, because I have 2 other jobs because of the decline this year. Well, not decline, but the volume.
Okay, so this again goes right back to the not knowing and making decisions based on not knowing. Okay, I'm not going to stay with them. But then you just said they were bringing in volume.
Yep.
And then Caleb's like, well, you're losing money on them. And he's like, yeah, I was already planning not to keep going with them. So, but based on what? Based on what? Because it wasn't working, because it was working, because you're just out of, like, based on what?
Yeah. Yeah, making decisions without any direction or without any data. It's like you need data, you need numbers, because that's really the game, right? It's like you need to know what is actually working, what's not working, in order for you to make decisions on that information. And I think it might be hard too, where you like where sometimes you make a decision in business. You say, like, I'm going to lean into this emotion, right? It's like that facts versus feelings thing. You lean into an emotional thing, like, I need to free up some of my time. I'm going to pay this agency. It's only $300 a month, and it kind of works out, and it kind of frees you up to think about some other things, and it gives you wrong signals, right? So, like, you're not acting based on concrete facts. You're acting based on your feelings. So like I do understand why that's wrong. It's like the feeling of having a little bit less stress because you outsourced it, and then the feeling of like, well, it hasn't really increased the volume that I'm doing. Even if the numbers are going up, the feeling is that I'm not busier, so I'm going to stop doing it. It's like that's like very blatant black and white facts versus feelings. Why it's not good to make decisions based on your emotions, for sure.
Yeah, it could be that this new agency is bringing him in fewer clients but higher dollar clients.
Yep.
So that could be the fact of it, and he really just doesn't know, and it's just so.
You bring in nothing from
It's
this company,
frustrating.
Right.
And
So
in the
what's your other
beginning, he
job?
said
So
he
I am a
also said
delivery
that,
driver
the
for
majority
Amazon.
Of it, you know, a
And,
lot of it was recurring. It was a lot of people that he'd worked with in the past couple years. So like, how many of them are recurring clients? How many of them are new clients? How many of them are actually coming from the ad campaigns? It's like too many question marks. Like I can't give him a good answer because I don't know. I don't know enough to really know whether he should stick with that agency or not. And the agency should be able to tell him. It's like they should have the answers. But
Agree. All right, we're going to jump ahead a little bit here.
I know that's old school, but like if we're sitting at home, let's at least try.
For context, he talked about how, because he asked him, isn't this stressing out your relationship with your girlfriend? Because you're running your business, you're working a full-time job, and you're working a part-time job. You're never home. And he's like, well, yeah, because before when I was running the business, I was just sitting home all the time waiting on business. And so then Caleb jumps into.
Right. No, I haven't.
Set up booths in front of places, man, and just give out like discount cards, staple up pieces of paper where they can pull it, and like, hey, if you have this, you get 25% off of carpet cleaning.
Yeah.
They take the thing down, you know.
What I've tried. Wow. So what I first started when I first launched it was sign spinning, because I have a history with that as well. In high school as a senior sign spun for this company.
Dang, I wish we had a sign so we could see.
I'm pausing it there because he goes into this like non sequitur story about sign spinning.
sure.
And we'll have to listen to it, but I want to stop it there. Sign spinning to get business for his carpet cleaning business.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Caleb's things are definitely old school, beating the pavement, but I would definitely hang flyers with tabs before I think I would sign spin.
100%. Yeah, it's like, okay, what's on the sign that you're spinning? How are you going to have them then reach out to you about carpet cleaning? Like, there's so many question marks. It's like, what are you pointing them to, like your home? Because you don't have a physical location. Are you standing on the street in front of your house spinning a sign like, hey, I own a carpet cleaning business? Like, what? I don't know, like the first, I don't know. It's like, how do you even have that initial thought? Like, I'm going to spin a sign to try and get business. I don't even know where that thought comes from. I get that he did it, but like, I don't understand the connect between sign spinning and what he's doing now. It's like a leap to get there.
Yeah, and he says that he started off, so he's going to tell this story, but then he's going to say, like, I that's how I got my initial customers, is with sign spinning. And same, like, how?
Yeah, what happened there?
Who sees a sign spinner? I mean, to me, sign spinning is, I have a physical location, I'm trying to catch your attention while you're driving down the road.
Yep.
Or there's a sale 1 block up the way, I want you to take time to think to park.
Yep.
So I'm going to spin the sign over here to let you know that sale is going on so you can make good decisions to find parking and all that.
Yeah, my first job was a sign holder for a pet store to like get people to go and go to the pet store, and then I got hired to go actually work in the pet store. But it's like you
leveled up. Look at you.
Yeah, right.
I got my job directly at the pet store.
Whoa.
I didn't have to hold a sign first.
Look out.
I was that qualified.
Let me clarify though. I only held a sign for 2 days, and then they brought me inside.
Yeah,
I think that's
held
like
a sign for 0.
You're cutting right to the core, Ali. I am hurt deeply.
They're like, you buy pets and you seem to know about them, you're hired.
Yeah, well, they said that with me. You know, I would go in and talk to them after holding the sign. They just didn't trust me enough initially. They had to get to know me a little bit. I'm not a first impressions guy.
Handle that sign before you could handle anything in the store.
Yeah. We don't know if we could trust them with anything living yet. Yeah, I'm not a first impressions guy. I'm like a wear you down over time guy. It takes a few days, a few times meeting me to like really get the charm. So
I love it. All right, well, let's hear it.
See you do that.
Yeah, it's really fun. I have a TikTok for the business page as well, so you can see
We'll link it in the
Me.
description.
TikTok for his local business. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yep. That's rough.
Yeah, so you could see it. But yeah, so I sign spun for another company, so that's why I really
What I got
enjoyed
from
it.
that is he has a TikTok in order to show off his sign spinning skills, not because it helps him grow his business.
Yeah,
He
I feel
wants
like,
to
you know,
grow
if
good
if he's
sign
saying he's getting clients from his sign spinning, I feel like it's like somebody else that worked at the business that he was spinning signs for that was like, "Hey, I need my carpet cleaned." I don't think it was directly from the sign spinning.
Yeah, I can't imagine it. I
No.
can't imagine it.
6 years later, moved on with my life and my 20s and whatever. Did my 20s, right? Anyway, fast forward 6 years later, come back to that same company because I'm struggling again. I just find them on just looking on Craigslist sign spinning, right? And it turns out to be the same company. And she ends up offering me a project manager position, the area manager at the time. Okay. Worked for them for a little bit, and then what happens? I'm working.
What is this? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just showing how I got to sign spinning for my own business. So
you think that's the most effective way?
No. I just said no. That's how I started it. That's how I was getting the business, and first couple months. Yeah. I was just doing that on the weekends.
I didn't like to hear that you were just sitting waiting for a job. I know you got your online algorithms working for you, but that's when we just get out there and we grind. Dude.
What I was depending on is the online advertising, and like I said, in the beginning was.
But why didn't you get out there and just like, well, what are they called? Beat pavement or whatever the concept is.
Yeah, hit the ground running or whatever. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Just like
I just depended on the online advertising. I was like, maybe if I just put more to it.
But why did you not, for a business that you cared about, that you're willing to take that out, and that you're trying to keep afloat by working nights and every day of the week?
Mm-hmm.
Why did we never try to do any other forms of in-person contact? No one likes someone knocking on the door and trying to sell something.
Yeah.
But
I couldn't think of anything.
On cars, getting things sent out in the mail, with the sent out for
anything other to do. Everybody listening to this needs to join our Facebook group, Daily Marketing Ideas, if you want to think of other things to do. The lack of imagination is just tunnel vision, right? It's because you only know this one thing. I always think of it as like you have 365. I always say 365. 360 degrees of possibilities, and you're only focused on this one degree, and you haven't looked to your left and you haven't looked to your right. And that's what it sounds like this guy is stuck there.
Yep.
That he has all this possibility, but he can't look past, I want it all to be easy coming from the online ads.
Yep. And I've fallen into this trap, right? Like once something works, and I prefer to speak from personal, right? Because it can connect with people if they're like vulnerability, right? I've been in this same spot where something kind of works and I get comfortable and expect it to work more. And that is like you should run away from being comfortable. It's like, do not get complacent, because that's when you start relying on something that, it could take a dive at any minute. The same thing, word of mouth, same thing, SEO, same thing. All of these strategies are amazing, but if you get complacent and expect it to continue working the way that it always has, that's when it stops. So for sure, be uncomfortable, like do the things that it really takes to grow your business. And like, I know that's a little bit meta, but figure out what it is and lean into it, and like don't stop trying to figure it out, because that's what it sounds like he did.
Stop believing.
He just kind of stopped, right? He's like, it's not quite working. Don't know where else to go from here, and just did.
So and for me, I think one of the things that has helped me have the success that I've had is I've always looked for another answer.
Yeah,
there's got to be another answer in another way, and I honestly believe, like, whether or not his ad agency is doing good or bad or indifferent, whether or not his ads were good, bad, indifferent, I believe there are plenty of ways he could grow this business by stopping his advertising completely and looking at alternative ways through either joint ventures or, setting up at the right home show or knocking on doors. I think that's if you just did your neighbor's house, and he's going to talk about this, if you just did your neighbor's house, even just leaving flyers at the door, even with some sort of coupon, some sort of offer, sending out postcards, but you have to have an offer.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't have the offer. They're just like carpet cleaning ?
Yep.
And so it makes it a little bit harder. But yeah, I think honestly, and when he gets to the end of the episode, Caleb said, like, I usually don't recommend bankruptcy, but you're like right there. And he was able to kind of come up with some solutions. But I'm like, the first thing to do is just, I would personally spend some time really educating myself on alternative. The book, if he's listening, a book I would recommend is Getting Everything You Can Out of All You've Got by Jay Abraham. Fantastic book, easy read, gives you a lot of different directions on how to grow your business. Because there's only 3 ways to grow your business. You get more customers, you get your customers to buy more often, you get the customers to spend more. And he goes through those and he talks about out-of-the-box ideas that don't require thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in ads. It's how to leverage the opportunities that are around you. So if I were him in as dire of a situation as he is, I would stop advertising. Keep up with the recurring customers that you have. Now you're profitable. And then I would lean into all of these free and low cost, or like with Thumbtack, you only pay once you get the job.
Yep.
In his particular situation, not saying the ads are good, bad, or whatever. It's just in his situation, he needs to look outside of that narrow ad.
100%. Yeah. Don't spend the money if you don't have it. I think that's important.
He's putting this on credit cards, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a lot of people they try to go to ads to, I don't know. It's like a last ditch effort for some people. And like I'll ask potential clients, like, what position are you in? Like, do you need this to work? And if it doesn't work, are you in a serious amount of trouble? Because number one, I'm not going to take you on as a client because I don't want to deal with that. And number two, if that's the situation you're in, I don't think paid advertising is the way to go. Things happen. Campaigns fail. Like, it's just kind of the way it works.
Facebook accounts get shut down.
Yeah, Facebook. Yeah. Yep, ad accounts get shut down all the time. I was dealing with that today, figuring out why one of my ad accounts got shut down.
Knock on wood. Like,
yeah.
I don't even want you saying it in front of me.
Yeah. Like, what a nightmare, Like, you can set up... I've been dealing with, we don't have to go on this rabbit trail, but I've been dealing with a new ad account that I've been trying to spend money on, and because the ad account is so new and the Facebook page is so new, Facebook is not letting us spend money. It's like the clients got the money, we're ready, I hit go, and Facebook's like, we're not sure about you yet. And I've been trying to talk to Facebook support all day long just to spend this client's money. They're ready to go. So there's so many things that can happen, and if this is like your life or death, live or die situation for your business and you need clients, I don't know if I would recommend paid advertising most of the time.
Yeah, and Facebook, just like any other time that you're dealing with a third party, you're putting too much of your future in their hands.
Yep.
You're handing over your ability to make money to Facebook. Now,
yep.
I make a lot of money from Facebook, but I also have an email list.
Yep.
I have other things that I am doing in order to make that money, and I've built my business so I have recurring income. So in case Facebook stops the ads, I still have money next month and the month after that. So yeah, you've got to have a multi-pronged approach and protect yourself, like you were talking about with the managing the risk, right?
Yep.
Facebook handling all of your client acquisition is not managing the risk.
Nope.
Not
yep.
at all.
For sure.
We're just about done here.
In the mail, with the discount code for carpet cleaning. The thing with this is, it comes to I love business. I'm not, growing my business and stuff. I'm becoming more educated. And there's always so much to learn. My dad has a small business that's become successful after I moved out after high school. My grandpa had a small business and he has a nonprofit now that helps. Well, whatever, it doesn't really matter. And then my grandma had a Cornerstone. So I love business in general. I love it. With that, a lot of the things that I'm just throwing out here, are they all good ideas? No, of course not. But that's the thing. We just throw all ideas. We see what sticks. We see what works. You just weren't trying things, man.
Yeah.
You tried some Facebook stuff, some Yelp stuff. Lovely. Mm-hmm. Now let's go do more. We're not sitting at home. We're not. Now what I'm even curious, I know there's bills to
7
pay.
days a week.
I know there's bills to pay, especially the debt. What I'm curious now, is it worth more your time if the business is still what you want the future to be, for you to be putting your time into these extra jobs? We need to look at the numbers to determine that.
Right.
But maybe not all the time there, and more, let's get out. Let's try to like knock a door. Hey, I'm going around the neighborhood. I just had a job that I finished a few houses down, and I just finished a job a few houses down, finished it early. Hey, I got some extra time. I'll do a 50% off my carpet cleaning. You say whatever the price that actually is. Right. I don't know. Again, might be a idea, but we're just throwing all ideas out when we're trying ideas, seeing what sticks, seeing what works. You didn't try any of them. So is it more valuable for you to be doing all this extra work outside of your business instead of actually attempting things within your business to grow it at this time?
Well, what I was considering is, I mean, I know they were just recent, but with the August changes of applying for new.
Yeah, so then they start talking about the jobs a bit more and how he wants to back off of one of the jobs to be able to spend more time on the business. I thought that was excellent advice by Caleb to, like, you got to throw stuff up against the wall. You can't just say, well, I tried a thing and it's not working, and therefore I'm going to just sit here and not do anything. If you really care about it, I feel like so many business owners almost feel like it's unfair that they have to do the marketing.
Yep.
Like, I don't want it, but I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm not into marketing. I don't understand it. I just don't want to do it. But then get a job and let somebody else do the marketing. Because if you're not willing to go out and do everything it takes to get a customer and learn what it takes to get a customer, if you're not willing to do that, then why do you have a business? You don't want a business. You don't want a business. Let somebody else own the business. Let somebody else be your boss. Let them go out and hit the pavement and learn what it takes to get a customer and educate themselves. And then if all you want to do is clean carpets, then all you would have to do is clean carpets, and you wouldn't have to worry about another thing. You can go home, rest your head on the pillow, and never have to worry about a Facebook ad again in your life.
Yep.
This guy wants to be an employee, but he wants the clout of being a business owner and like be able to say, hey, I'm a business owner, I'm doing these things, but then not willing to do the work. And I'm not saying like he doesn't care. He obviously cares. He put in a lot of work. But man, it's like, I'm going to be a professional athlete, but I don't want to get up early, I don't want to train, and I don't want to eat well.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you're probably not going to get what you want then. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. That's how I feel about it. So that's pretty much the end of that part of the video. I do recommend everybody watch the rest of this, because when he gets into what are you bringing in per month, I just think it's fun. It's fun to watch. I feel bad for this guy, but at the same time, just like it's a funny sequence, and I was entertained by it. So we talked last time when we got to the end of the video of what is the big outrageous thing that if you were a carpet cleaner, what is the big outrageous out of the box thing you would do to get business, but maybe also what is the sensible thing to do in this instance. I was talking about like stopping ads and doing other things. If you were coaching this guy, what would you tell him to start doing immediately?
I would tell him probably immediately, like, he has some revenue, and I think that exactly like you said, he needs to stop paying to try and acquire clients, paying outright, paying for ads. He's not making enough to really justify that kind of cost, in my opinion. And he's tried the credit route. Like, I wouldn't spend credit on advertising unless I like really had a system that I knew worked. But that makes me nervous in general. So stop spending money on ads. And I really like professional partnerships. Like, this guy seems agreeable enough. Like, he seems nice enough. He probably has friends and family that are also business owners, and that professional partnership angle, I think, is really strong, and building a network of other business owners is a really strong way, a really, really reliable way to do that. Some sort of business referral network thing would be a better way, I think, to build a long-term sustainable business. in this niche, you're dealing with, I don't know, you're dealing with something that is, you have to have a lot of trust to like invite somebody into your house. I think, like people are willing to do it now because that's how business is done. Like you need something done in your house, you want to find somebody trustworthy to do it. And the most trust, in my opinion, the people that work with me and trust me more than anybody else are referrals, right? It's like somebody's going to stick their neck out and say, yes, this is the guy. Those people come to me and they're like, how do I work with you? We trust you to do whatever because we trust this other person. So that to me, I think is what I would recommend to him for like sensible, reasonable. As far as like outlandish, it's hard for me to think out of the box sometimes. I get a little bit stuck in my ways, but I also love a little bit of showmanship. So if there's I think there's a really clear before and after way to demonstrate what he does. And if you could do that in a way that's out of the box, maybe, I don't know, you could probably go to jail if you walked into somebody's house and threw coffee on their carpet. But like that's
you
kind
have
of
your own carpet you could do it on.
Yes, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's like powerful demonstration. Show them, don't tell them. I think is really great. Like somebody, like you said, pouring it on his own carpet. I think that's a huge idea right there. It's like a video of you literally picking up coffee, going to take a sip, and then instead of taking a sip, just chucking it at the ground. Like I think that gets some serious reaction from people, and then showing the before and after of the dirty and clean carpet would be a great way to something to put in a group. I think it would be a great thing in a Facebook group. But yeah, what do you think? What do you got?
Well, and you can also do, I always love Facebook groups, and you can talk about how a client thought for sure there was no way that you were going to get that stain out, and then a video of you getting the stain out. So telling the story ahead of time that this is what happened. They had a party. Somebody spilled a glass of red wine. They thought for sure their carpet was ruined. Now watch this. And they, and the stain is out. Yeah. When we go to showmanship after just doing the last episode, my brain immediately goes to topless carpet cleaning. Like, if it works for washing a car, I don't see why it wouldn't work for cleaning a carpet.
Yeah, I get that, but you can't just take your shirt off at every job, Ali.
I mean, I think that you can.
Okay.
I honestly, I think that you can.
That's fair.
But no, having that showmanship where you're doing it a little bit different, where you're something, special. Maybe you wear a cape because you're the
carpet hero,
Superman of carpet cleaning, whatever. I know that Joe Polish talked about having 10 things you need to know before you get your carpet cleaned, having information like that, especially doing that in groups.
Yeah.
10 things you need to know about carpet stains, 10 things you need to know before you hire a carpet cleaner, things like that, or even 3 things. And I also like what Joe Polish does and they tested this, and this is where it's so smart to go to the people that are already doing it. Joe Polish has that information. Like, if you have a gym and you're not following Alex Hermosi to find out everything he does to promote a gym, you're crazy.
Yep.
If you have a carpet cleaning business and you're not devouring everything Joe Polish has ever published, you're crazy. And so Joe Polish did we'll do 1 room for free. No commitment to additional rooms. We will come in and clean 1 room for free. And what happens is that 1 room gets clean, and then they're looking at the rest of their carpet saying, all right, you're already here. How much for the rest of it?
Yeah.
It's one of the easiest sells when you're already at somebody's house to expand beyond. And it's easy-ish to sell free. And you got to find a reason for it. This is why we're offering it. We're trying to introduce our service to the new people of the neighborhood, and we're trying to reach out. Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, just do one for free. If you've got the time, instead of sitting at home, go do them for free. Even if they don't buy, now it's potential referral source.
Yep.
And I agree with you. I would double down and I would try to systematize the referrals. Not just hope that they get them, but say, hey, if you send me a referral, I put everybody who gives me a referral, I do a drawing once a month, and I give away $100 gift certificate to a swanky steak restaurant in the area.
Yeah.
And so every referral you send me, that's another entry that we put into the jar. And the homeowner is going to think, oh, that's interesting. That's fun. But now that's been planted in their head that if they hear something, to recommend you.
Yes.
If they see it on Facebook, if, wherever they see it, and you could say, oh, I saw you recommended me on Facebook. Thank you. I'm going to enter your name into the jar.
Yep.
And you're building those relationships with people. I think there's a ton of ways to do it. I love to working with other professionals, other people that are already in the home, where you can make that connection and have access to their list with straight up joint venture. If you've got a cousin that owns a plumbing business, have them send an offer out for one clean. We'll clean one room of your house for free. We just want to give a gift to all of our plumbing clients. We're going to clean one room of your house for free. All you have to do is call my cousin Andy over here. He'll come out and do one room for you. And if you like it and you want him to do more, you can ask him to, but there are no strings attached.
Love that. Yep.
Boom. You got business, you got the monies, and you're not even paying Facebook for anything.
Yep. And the kicker is he's going to do it all topless.
And topless. Or with his shirt tucked, like you were saying, like it's got
tied up in the knot there. Yep.
That's
how I clean my carpets at home.
I believe you.
Yep.
So I love that. I think this was a good episode. I really enjoyed hearing you talk more about things, even from an agency side, and how, just because, it's easy for me also to be like, agency's bad, because there are so many bad ones out there.
Yep.
But also clients bad. Clients can also be very difficult to work with.
Yep.
And may not be answering the phones. You're right, that comes up a lot. And I'm trying to.
Yeah, I can generate all the leads in the world, but it doesn't matter if they don't follow up with them or whatever. There's so many different things that could happen. And I think that I'm like agency bad too. Like, I've been the bad agency. Luckily for me, it wasn't that long of a period of time, because I was like, hey, this isn't cool. Like, I don't want to take people's money for things that don't produce a result for them.
You had a conscience.
Yeah. A reformed agency owner. But the flip side of that coin is, like, even as a reformed agency owner, I still have campaigns that perform less than I would like them to, or yes, let's just leave it at that, and for any number of reasons.
Is it fair to say that if an agency is running a campaign for your company, anybody listening to this, if an agency is running a campaign for your company, they should both be able to show you what results they are or are not getting.
Yep.
And they should be upfront about the fact that a certain campaign is not working the way that they thought it would. And is it fair to say that you should know within 30 days if they're struggling and having problems, or if they are getting results? That we should know something within 30 days.
Yeah, that's 100% right. And, like, I would even go so far as to say, usually I'll know how effective a campaign is going to be within a week, at the right budget. Like, if they're spending enough money on the campaign, and I know that's, like, again, agency bad, he wants us to spend all the money, but if they're spending the right amount of money, especially for local lead generation, I recommend $50 to $100 a day. And that's, like, a lot of money. I understand that that's an incredibly large amount of money. That being said, like, I don't know if I've answered your question yet, but just to clarify something, you don't have to spend $50 to $100 a day for a month. Like, we could run a campaign for a week at $50 to $100 a day and get as many clients as you're looking for, right? It's like $100 a day, 7 days, that's only $700, but we spent enough per day in order to get the juice that we needed to get as many eyeballs as we need on that campaign to get the results. Yeah.
Even when I run my own ads, I've spent upwards to $4,000, but I'm good if I'm spending $1,500 to $2,000. If I'm spending $4,000, I'm paying too much per lead.
Yeah.
And because I know my numbers now, so I know that I'm trying to get X amount of people, and if it costs me $4,000, I'm spending too much per lead.
Yep.
But I'll spend $1,500. Like, I just spent $1,500 in a period of 10 days, and I'm not continuing to spend that money. it's off now, and I actually won't run any more ads for any of those campaigns until January, because that's when it's right for me again.
Yep.
So yeah, you're right. It doesn't have to be like, oh my gosh, Duncan's trying to spend all my money every single day. It could just be a short-term thing that you need to do.
Yep, and I'll even change that throughout a campaign, right? So like I'm running a campaign now that's at $50 a day, and I'm going to do it for about 5 days. And if I don't see any leads at all come in, which that sounds nuts, but like you might not be spending enough per day in order to get a lead at $50 a day in some of these higher ticket, smaller niche businesses, I'm going to shrink the timeline. Like they have a budget of $1,000 for the month, which is not a lot of money to spend. If I don't get results in that 5 days at $50 a day, I'm going to say, okay, now we're going to spend $100 a day for the next however much of that budget is left to really make sure that we've given this campaign the amount of money that it's worth to try and actually get results. If that doesn't work, there's something horribly wrong that has nothing to do with the amount of money that you're spending. Maybe not product market fit. Maybe there's some reputation issues where they're coming in and like seeing something that they don't like on a landing page, or there's so many different things that could go on there that need to be addressed by, generally speaking, the agency if that doesn't work at that amount of money. So
Yes, perfect. And for everybody out there, if you are unsure and you need more help and you need to ask questions, join our group. Our Facebook group is Daily Marketing Ideas for Small Local Business Owners, I think it is.
Yep.
You'll see my face, you'll see Duncan's face. That's how you know that you're in the right place. Thank you, Duncan. I thought this was fun. I think that it was something a little bit different to do, to actually react to these videos of these business owners talking. And I loved hearing your perspective, because you pointed out things that I didn't notice, and you showed things from a different perspective that I hadn't thought about. So I love that we got to sit and look at this together. And for everybody watching, if you like this, let us know. If you hated it, let us know, so we know whether or not you want to see more content like this. And any last words, Duncan?
Yeah, definitely let us know whether you liked it or not. I'm not going to change what I do no matter what you say, though, just so you know. I'm going to keep doing these if I like them. So
he will take your feedback and ignore it. So, but he would like your feedback.
Good. We would like the feedback, but I'm going to file it in a drawer and then, maybe go back to it later.
Perfect. All right, wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for listening in. Thank you, Duncan, for being here. And we'll talk to you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.